Let's dive right into this explainer. Imagine walking into almost any pharmacy in America today. You know exactly what you're going to see, right? You are instantly confronted by this massive, colorful, and frankly, completely overwhelming wall dedicated entirely to vitamins. It's packed with literally every children's supplement you could possibly imagine, heavily marketed to catch your eye.
You've got the gummies. You know, the ones shaped like bears, dinosaurs, and superheroes. And let's be honest, they taste exactly like fruit snacks.
Then you've got the drops and the liquid tinctures that promise super easy digestion for the little ones.
And we can't forget the multivitamins, the immune boosters, the sleep vitamins, and of course those ever-popular brain boosters. It is just this endless parade of products constantly pushed to well-meaning parents and caregivers who really just want the absolute best for their kids. But let's hit pause for a second. We need to look at the somewhat uncomfortable central mystery driving this entire explainer today. Do most children actually need them? Are parents shelling out hundreds of dollars a year, essentially funding a multi-million-dollar industry for something their kids never even needed in the first place?
To really understand that supplement aisle, we have to look at the core driver of the industry, which is parental anxiety. As caregivers, we naturally worry. We constantly ask ourselves, what if my child is missing something? What if these vitamins could prevent them from getting sick? Or, what if they actually improve their focus at school? The vitamin industry absolutely thrives on these emotions. They brilliantly turn those very understandable fears directly into sales. But the science? Well, the science asks a much tougher question. Where is the actual evidence?
This brings us to Section 1, Survival Needs versus Supplements.
Look, let's get the undisputed facts straight right out of the gate. Vitamins are essential for life. That part is not controversial in the medical community whatsoever. Without vitamins, the human body develops some very serious diseases. Severe vitamin C deficiency causes scurvy. A lack of vitamin D can contribute to rickets, which affects bone development. And a vitamin B12 deficiency? That can cause anemia and some really severe neurological problems. So yes, vitamins absolutely matter.
But here is the crucial distinction that so many people miss. In fact, it's the exact semantic trick the industry relies on. Needing vitamins for your basic biological survival does not automatically mean that everyone needs a daily manufactured vitamin supplement. Those are two entirely different things.
For most healthy children living in developed countries, a true vitamin deficiency is surprisingly rare. Major medical organizations generally agree on this. If a child regularly eats a reasonably varied diet, and we're talking just some protein, maybe dairy or alternatives, grains, veggies, and fruit, they usually get exactly what they need. Notice I said reasonably varied. It doesn't require perfectly calculated nutrition. Every meal doesn't have to be a masterclass in dietetics. Just reasonably varied nutrition. And this is exactly why major medical organizations do not recommend routine vitamin supplementation for every single kid.
So that takes us to Section 2, the vitamin D exception.
Now, science isn't saying supplements are entirely useless, not at all. It's saying they have very specific jobs. As the evidence shows, doctors strongly recommend them for pregnancy, like your standard prenatal vitamins. They use them when a blood test shows a confirmed clinical deficiency. They're also absolutely crucial for kids on highly restrictive diets, like strict veganism, or if they have severe food allergies. They're used for chronic diseases that affect nutrient absorption. And importantly, they are recommended when someone has limited sun exposure, which leads us directly to the big one, vitamin D.
Vitamin D gets a lot of special attention because, unlike most other vitamins, your body actually produces it naturally through sunlight exposure. That means where you live, the season, the clothes you wear, your whole lifestyle, it deeply matters. People living in northern climates, think Canada, Alaska, or Northern Europe, they often have a much higher risk of deficiency, especially during those long, dark winter months. This is exactly why vitamin D is one of the very few supplements that pediatricians and doctors will actually discuss as a frequent necessity.
Moving on to Section 3, the gummy overdose danger.
Okay, so there's this really common myth that if you take too many vitamins, you just end up with expensive urine. Well, that's only half true. Let's break down the biology here for a second. Water-soluble vitamins, like your B complex and vitamin C, are indeed flushed right out by your body if you have too much of them. However, fat-soluble vitamins, specifically vitamins A, D, E, and K, behave very differently. They don't just get flushed out, they accumulate. They physically build up inside your body's tissues.
And this leads us to a massive, hidden biological danger: overdose. Because these fat-soluble vitamins accumulate, having too much of them can actively harm you. And here is where the marketing becomes incredibly problematic. To children, Gummy vitamins look, feel, and taste exactly like candy. There's almost no difference to them. Because of this, accidental and really harmful overdoses of fat-soluble vitamins are incredibly common. Actually, they are way more common than most parents realize. Thinking that more is always better can literally put a child's health at risk.
Let's wrap things up with Section 4, the real health prescription.
Let's pivot for a minute and talk about the real, everyday problems that parents are so desperately trying to fix when they buy those expensive little bottles. When a kid is just exhausted, struggling to pay attention in class, or just seems completely burned out, our immediate assumption is usually, oh, they must be lacking some sort of vitamin. We really need to debunk this right now. Fatigue does not automatically equal a vitamin deficiency. Poor focus? That doesn't equal a vitamin deficiency. Burnout does not equal a vitamin deficiency.
So, if it's usually not a lack of vitamin C or B12, what is it? Well, the evidence points to the actual culprits of modern childhood: sleep deprivation, stress, overscheduling our kids with back-to-back extracurricular activities, and honestly, a severe lack of outdoor activity. These are the environmental and lifestyle factors that are causing the exact symptoms we're trying so hard to medicate away with a multivitamin.
So the absolutely crucial takeaway is this. If there is a real medical reason, absolutely use supplements. But if there's no proven deficiency, the best investment is not another bottle of expensive gummies. The real prescription, the evidence-based steps to actually empower and improve a child's health, their focus, and their energy are pretty straightforward. Better sleep, better food, more time spent outdoors, more physical movement, and less stress.
We've covered a lot of ground in this explainer today, stripping away all that slick marketing to look at the hard biological facts. Vitamins are completely vital for life, yes, but those colorful plastic bottles aren't automatically essential for healthy kids. Which leaves us with this final thought for you to consider before your next trip down that overwhelmingly bright supplement aisle. If we know for a fact that sleep, sunshine, and less stress do infinitely more for our kids' daily well-being than a gummy ever could, why is it so much easier for us to buy the bottle than to change the routine?